One family here in the U.S. is calling a miracle brought about by the late Pope John Paul II. They say their father, who had been in a wheelchair for decades, was suddenly able to rise and walk. 2020's co-anchor Elizabeth Vargas is here, and it's a remarkable story, Elizabeth.
Robin, 80% of Americans believe in miracles, and recent polls show that nearly half of Americans say they have personally witnessed or experienced a miracle. The Amaral family in the old fishing town of New Bedford, Massachusetts, are sure they have. Joe Amaral says he's always been a believer in saints and miracles, a faith reinforced by the simple fact that he is now walking on his own. He depended on canes and crutches for 30 years due to a narrowing of the spine called spinal stenosis, further complicated by a stroke of the spine that put him in a wheelchair.
The doctor said, "I'm sorry." The connection from the brain senses, how it tells you to walk and to move, it's gone.
But doctors were saying there's nothing we can do?
Exactly. It was very difficult, because I couldn't do anything to help him.
And yet you would come to church, you would come to Mass every week and struggle to get up those stairs.
Yeah, it was difficult because there's no, at this particular church, there's no elevator.
He'd work his way up the stairs, the huge granite staircase that we have outside. He'd come on up on those forearm crutches, pronated in a sense, leaning forward, dragging his legs behind. And it touched me very much to see this man's great faith when he would heroically bring himself when I would distribute Holy Communion.
That deep belief was at the center of what Joe and Father Landry call a miracle. It began 2 years ago during a Saturday confession.
Something happened, and then Sunday morning I felt different. Not physically great, but felt like a calmness and peace.
Joe says he then prayed hard to a spiritual hero of his, Pope John Paul II.
He believed in divine providence.
What did you pray for?
So I prayed to understand God's will. I never prayed to walk.
Just to understand why this is happening to you.
His will. As a husband, as a son, as a father, what are my duties? What am I supposed to do?
And then coincidence, after he said his prayer, turn on the TV, and there he is.
It was a documentary about John Paul II called Witness to Hope.
He calls out to the world, "Be not afraid."
Joe says he took the late pontiff's words to heart.
I happened to look at the picture of Pope John Paul II, and I just got up.
You just got up after years of not being able to walk?
5 years, just got up and started walking. The more I kept walking, the more, thank you, Lord, just the more I kept going, and back, and that's it.
Joe's doctors tell us they have no medical reason why Joe suddenly began to walk after 30 years of being unable to. They thought he'd spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. However, for it to be officially declared a medical miracle, it will take years of intense scrutiny. A medical miracle must be instantaneous, complete, lasting, and inexplicable, a very high standard to meet.
There are rules?
Yes, Robin, there are so many rules. It's actually quite rigorous.
I'm sure a bevy of doctors are involved in this one.
Whole team will spend years.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to believe.
Sometimes.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you. And she'll have a whole hour of these unbelievable stories on 2020 tonight at 10, 9 Central.